Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the Fuel Yourself audiocast. I am your host, Shawana Mays, certified holistic life and wellness coach who helps women stop the habit of chronic quitting. And I teach them how to build the skill of unstoppable follow through with any goal, no matter what's happening in their life. Now, I've been thinking about this episode over and over again this past week because I realize how much three simple words that I've carried with me since 2014, how they've shaped and impacted my life in such a positive way that it has had me creating what I want to see in my life. Even when I had this hardcore belief that my circumstances weren't ideal, or at least what I perceive not to be ideal. Okay, so those three words were no matter what. These three words hold a lot of weight in my life. Okay. Now, listen, I know those words don't sound like anything major, but let me share with you how they've been extremely impactful for me. And maybe, just maybe, what I share will speak to you. Okay. Now, as a coach who helps women build the skill of follow through, I had to really understand how to build it myself. And this skill wasn't something that someone taught me, which I think is amazing every single time that I think about it. But it was just something that I started practicing on my own because I truly desired change in my life. And I felt like I had to do something different in order to make that happen. Like, I really wanted to start to feel good because I was not feeling good at all. And I started to really become aware of how bad I was actually feeling. So at a time in my life when I felt like I kind of hit one of my lowest points of feeling bad, I had been living in Louisville, Kentucky for almost 3 years. I uprooted my two girls from Columbus, Ohio. I was in a new marriage. I was at a new job. I was in massive debt. I was carrying 30 plus pounds, which was like more than I ever wanted to. And a lot of that came on when I moved to Louisville. I was unhealthy. I was trying to manage my home that I had leased out back home in Columbus, Ohio. Whew, the stress of that was freaking depressing. Okay. Listen, I did not know what I was doing, but that's a whole other story. But on top of that, trying to manage being like the best wife, quote unquote, and the best mom, quote unquote. Well, at least what my idea of what I thought it was supposed to look like. And of course, most of my ideas of what it should have looked like came from what society fed me over the years, or just kind of just watching my mom in some instances. So things like, in order to be a good mom, you have to be at your kids' every beck and call at any time of the day. That's what I believed. And at the time, my girls were 11 and 14 when I started thinking about the heaviness of my life and what I wanted to change. And I also had this thought that in order to be a good wife, I had to be the end all, be all for everything. And I know some of you women out there can relate to what I'm saying. And we can sum it all up to we want to make sure that we please everyone in our homes and everyone gets what they need, even if it's at our own expense. So one day my brain just couldn't take those beliefs anymore. And I realized how much those beliefs weren't serving me because I was run down, y'all. I was tired as heck. I was exhausted from doing all the things, wondering when someone was going to ask me if I was okay or tell me to take some time for me. Now, of course, my kids were just being kids and they probably actually, you know what, did see me as just come to mommy. Mommy solves all the problems, right? And it's not like I didn't reinforce that behavior because I constantly let it happen for years because it's all I knew to do. And their behavior was all they knew to do because they had lived that way for so long. So I am in no way blaming my girls. Okay. But as they grew older and more capable of doing things themselves, I was still at their beck and call. But I started to realize my kids can do stuff that I'm doing around the house. So I started really thinking about why I was doing everything. And then I started to realize my kids had brains like all humans in the world. Like they can think about stuff and they can figure stuff out in their brain, right? Now, why wouldn't they try to figure stuff out on their own? Why did they have to come to me for the simple stuff, especially the simple stuff? Like, what's that saying out there in the world that everyone's saying now? The math ain't mathing. So my brain started to recognize me doing all the stuff and answering all the simple questions was connected to my burnout and my exhaustion. Like even my constant thoughts about it were connected to my burnout and exhaustion because I would constantly think about how much they needed to be helping me out around the house and how much they needed to be solving simple problems, but I would never do or say anything about it. I would just be so frustrated. And my other relationships were sucking my energy also because I was allowing them to. And I didn't yet know how to say no to the stuff I really didn't want to do. But I was doing it out of what I felt was like an obligation to the relationship. And maybe you can relate to that too. Until one day, I had my moment in the mirror. I call it my mirror moment. And I cried my eyes out, just staring at myself, seeing how tired and exhausted my eyes were, looking at my body. And the first thought I had was, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. The next thought I had was, I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to lose this extra weight no matter what. Those simple three words generated feelings of like immense power in my body. It was so powerful. It was like an activation switch went off in my brain, and my brain became solution focused at that moment. Now, I had no idea how I was going to solve for what I wanted, but I could feel the energy of those words. It was like deeply understanding the concept everything you need is already inside of you. I know we hear that all the time and we really don't understand it, but it is so true. And I felt like I had just unlocked like a superpower or something. Now, there has been a lot that has happened since I had those two thoughts come up in my brain. As I'm recording this episode, that was over 11 years ago, starting in August of 2014. My journey of deciding to make myself a priority, no matter what, has never stopped up until this moment of January 2026. Has there been many, many challenges and obstacles since 2014? Yes. I have never been exempt from them, and I never will be, especially when the whole world went through the year 2020. That's when I received the most questions about my consistency and my commitment to me. I would receive messages from women asking me how I was still able to follow through when the world was so heavy. And it was a valid question because it was a challenging year and negative emotions were like so high and caused people to overdrink, overeat, overspend, just so they can mask those negative emotions that they were feeling. So I do get it. I really do. I'm going to stop right there just for the sake of time. And I'm going to dive like all into more challenges in part two of this episode. So you're going to want to listen to that one also because you may have been through some of those same circumstances that actually led you to quit on any past goals you've had while going through the challenges or the obstacles. So I want to bring it all together in part two. Now, if this particular episode spoke to you, I will always invite you to go deeper with this work with me, especially if this is something that you currently struggle with and you no longer want to struggle with it. Let's get on a consultation together and see what's holding you back from creating your outcomes. And then we can also see if we'd be a good fit to work together long term. Okay. So you can book a free life and wellness consultation with me through my website at www.royalrenewal.info. For now, I'm wishing you a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of ease, and a whole lot of love. And I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.